What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Blind Power. Today we're going to talk about what you need to know accessibility wise with macOS 10.14 Mojave, the new Apple operating system for this year on macOS. Came out yesterday, September 24th, and it's got some nice new features up its sleeve that have to do with accessibility directly and indirectly. So let's get started. The first thing first is dark mode. Dark mode is now available system-wide, including wallpapers and the whole UI color. So third parties can implement it in their apps and will also be able to enable dark mode in their apps. And all native Apple apps have dark mode enabled by default. This is great because a lot of the time, as a visually impaired person, you're navigating the web, and that white light, that light is bad for your eyes. It can hurt. It can cause eye fatigue. If you have any kind of cones and rods problems, you could potentially damage your cones and rods. So with dark mode, you can protect your eyes and you can work for longer without having to deal with eye fatigue. The dark mode is not completely black, which is good. It's a nice tone of gray. That's important because even if it's black, it still can tire your eyes to a certain extent. That gray tinge in the background, that dark gray, I'll pop the pictures of what I'm talking about as I talk about them. So that dark gray is basically what has that nice balance of like enough background for your eyes to stay focused, but enough that the foreground pops out more than the background, which is great. This works in Safari, Mail, Xcode, the programming app for Apple. It works on the App Store, and that's the next thing I want to talk about. So Apple is now allowing third-party developers to implement their iOS apps into macOS 10. This is awesome. macOS, because of the fact that finally there's so many good apps that are already accessible and have everything already labeled, all the elements, the pictures, the text fields. I can go on and on about everything that could be labeled, captions for buttons, everything that they do with an iOS app. If they want to bring it over to the Mac, they don't have to do much. They could just say, hey, bring this into an iPad form and show it on the Mac. This is great because the reason why a lot of Mac apps aren't labeled and a lot of iOS apps don't get labeled either is because developers want to do, iOS and macOS. And they can't take the time to label all the accessibility elements because just labeling accessibility elements takes 3 to 4 hours on a large project. And, if it's a large enough scale project, it can take a day or two just to get all the accessibility stuff squared off. And they skip a lot of it because they can't afford to do the Mac and, the iOS part of the app all by hand, and it'll take them 2-3 days to do it, and they're using money on accessibility, which the side don't want. Unfortunately, they're like, oh yeah, accessibility, and then they just label what needs to be labeled, and boom, continue, because they have a minimum requirement to post your apps in the App Store. But that's it. So now with this whole Mac apps being able to iOS apps being able to be turned into Mac apps, basically, they only have to label once. Label once all the stuff you want from the iOS app, and then you can bring it over the Mac, and all the items stay labeled, all the captions for the images and buttons, everything stays labeled, so all they have to do is the layout work. I am so excited about this because no more will we be like, oh wait, this isn't labeled, now what, So developers will be able to make things a lot more accessible by just doing all the accessibility for the app once and just set it and forget it. I like that because of the fact that, it just makes it easier. Accessibility has so many. I'll see if I could create a project and pop up all the stuff that I'm talking about, but there's like 30 to 40 elements just on a plain app on a simple app of what you can, label accessibility wise. You can control rotors, you can do so many things to make the app work nicely in accessibility that developers just don't take the time. And now they can, because they do it once and they set it and forget it. Okay, so now another part of the App Store is the Mac App Store is now labeled like the iOS App Store, so it's in a button row basis. So on the iOS devices, it's on the bottom, and on the Mac App Store, it's on the left-hand side, which now you can access like you can with VoiceOver, how you can usually access lists and stuff like that. So it's very, very simple to navigate with accessibility now. It's all nice and tidy. They're bringing over the iOS feel and look, and a lot of the same functionality with VoiceOver gets brought over as well. So essentially, if you have an iPhone, there's almost no changes when using the Mac. Just treat the trackpad like it's your iPhone screen, and that's awesome, because they're making it seamless for accessibility users, who use VoiceOver and who use Zoom, to just be able to go from iOS to the Mac. And Zoom is not seamless, like you can't triple tap with your fingers on the trackpad. I would like if that was a feature, but not yet. But at least with VoiceOver, it's so close to everything that it's like, okay, yeah, you can do it. So I like that. Navigation is nice because so many new things that you can explore. Like VoiceOver is so much nicer now on macOS Mojave. They've cleaned up a lot of stuff now that iOS code can run on Mac. A lot of the VoiceOver stuff that is on iOS gets implemented. So the next thing you need to know about Mojave is the fact that with the whole dark mode, with all these new features, you can get it now. And I don't know, that's it. I hope you guys enjoy macOS Mojave. It's nice. I mean, I haven't got to mess with Xcode and Mojave yet, but I've seen pictures and it looks nice. I will do a video on I don't know, Mojave from a programmer's aspect and accessibility. I don't know, but I might mention it in another video, perhaps in a vlog or something, because it's worth mentioning the experience with Mojave. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, rate, subscribe. Stay tuned. You guys have been killing it, because I've been having trouble posting because of college, and you guys have still killed it. I've gotten 20 subscribers in the past month, and I've only posted 5 or 6 times, maybe less, and you guys have been killing it with the views and subscribers and stuff, so I much appreciated. So I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Hit the subscribe button and remember to enable the notification bell to get all notifications of blind power uploads. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.